This is okay, guys. This is the bottom of my cousin's very, very long, I think it's 400 yards long garden. They have a lovely 400-year-old cottage on Stockbridge High Street in Hampshire. They've lived here for many, many years, and they have a very long, very narrow garden. So that's one side of the garden, and that's the other side. But now I'm going to walk you through, and it will take 10 minutes. I'm going to walk you through their garden back to the house. I started off by looking at that little tributary of the River Test with the sheep on the other side, and now I'm just going to quietly walk you back through their garden. They've lived here for a long time. My mum and dad used to love coming down here, my dad particularly, and David, my cousin-in-law, I suppose you'd call him, were very, very good friends. And Dad, you know, had his issues, but he and David were really great mates, and Dad used to love coming down here and spending time with Jill and David. And one of the things he particularly loved to do was to help David with keeping the garden tidy, and particularly because he was a bit of a pyromaniac, my dad loved doing pyromaniac things with David. David has a place in the garden, which you'll see in a minute, where he leaves a bonfire, and when it gets full up, there's a little pond in the garden. So we're just walking up. As you can see, this part of the garden, which is the most of it, is left completely wild, except for a mown path through. Walking here is like walking on, I don't know, padded carpet, because the water table is about 6 inches below the surface. So you're actually walking on almost bog. Very, very boggy. So here is the incipient pile, which will one day become a beautiful bonfire. Continue on up. It's like walking through woodland, and is very, very beautiful. Oops, excuse me, went down a hole. So here we come to another little glade, which is opened up a wee bit, a bit wider. This tree, I don't know now, but it certainly did have a barn owl nesting box in it. I can't see that today, but to the extent that people used to come from the barn owl people and check whether there were chicks in it and things like this. Now this is an interesting bit. I've got to negotiate about 4 beautiful apple trees under here to get out the other side. All sorts of bits and pieces left everywhere. It really is a total delight. So on we go. This is going to be, oops, a YouTube video, because it's going to be far too long to put on anything else. Or is this the barnyard tree? Yes, this is the barn owl tree. If you look up there, you can see there is a nesting box there. But obviously it's not the nesting season at the moment. Jill is the daughter, one of 2 daughters of my mother's elder brother John, sadly now deceased. And they used to live in Ramsgate, used to live actually in Broadstairs, I think it was, near to where my granny and granddad, my maternal granny and granddad used to live. Aha! Here we have yet another pile waiting to be burnt at some point. Always at one side of the garden there is a stream, just a little stream that goes up. This is one side of the garden, and the other side of the garden is literally there where that small structure is. So it's a very narrow garden, albeit incredibly long. So here we go, past the goldenrod. You don't see them much now, do you? Beautiful goldenrod, all sorts of very large foliage, and across a little bridge. Here we are, little bridge. Very dark and dank. Everything is very, very wet. Very, very. So there we have more water there. Across and round, yes, another little corner. What do we find here? Ah, here we're coming out now to the other end of the garden where David and Jill grow all their own stuff. There's obviously a little glass house there. More. It becomes, this is their berries, their garden plot. All manner of beautiful bits and pieces. Runner beans here. There's a pub next door, which is why you can hear all sorts of lovely little places. Just everywhere you look is lush and beautiful. David's sit-on mower, you can understand why he has a sit-on mower with a garden this long. And here we are coming back into the part of the garden which is where they spend most of their time. And here you can see their lovely cottage planting. They sometimes have their garden open for the Stockbridge Open Gardens, and although it's not manicured in any way, I think you can see that it's certainly a garden that one would enjoy on a lovely summer day with decent shoes, coming and having a look at, because it is so beautiful. Self-sown dahlias. I can't remember what these are called. Boreensis, something boreensis. I tried to grow them myself once. And here we have a little opening down into the stream, so you can paddle if you want to. Also very lovely. More seating area here. A new little sun lounge, sun place that David's in the middle of doing. He never stops. And then we come right back up to the back of their beautiful 400-year-old cottage. Touchwood it's called. And there you are. Here we have the beautifully kept herb garden. Hope you've enjoyed your trip.